Welcome back from that. And apologies, we had technical issues we quickly had to resolve right there. Like I was trying to introduce my guest before that happened. Engineer Emeka-Obi is one of the most sought after civil engineers in Abuja. And he's going to be here to be telling us how we can curb a building collapse. As I mentioned in my introduction, we've seen several lately. We've recorded so many, and recently there was one in Kano State, and the contractor was reported to have been arrested. There's so much we have to discuss as we'll talk about quackery in the industry, how to identify one, how you can ensure that you get all the certifications before you start your building collapse, and the economic challenges that Nigerians are facing. Is it affecting the sector as well? Well, thank you so much for being part of the program, Emeka-Obi. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Yes, so building collapse in Nigeria, we've been talking about this over and over again. It seems like each time we talk about it, each time it happens, rather, attention is drawn, so much is going on, and after that it dies down. What would you say is the problem?
Okay, thank you for that question. Basically, I think in Nigeria we're more reactive than proactive. Yeah, that's why you hear us make a lot of noise when something has happened, and then we'll make propositions of things we need to do, how we should do it, and everybody knows what to do after it has happened, and we give solutions on paper, but the implementation becomes the problem. So I think about building collapse and how it's being handled. I think basically there's a gap between the things we say and the things we write on paper and the implementation. And I think maybe the implementation has been so slow. You know, that's why it looks as if it keeps happening. You know, it keeps happening. But then I think if we take it more seriously, we should be able to curb that, and it shouldn't be something that should be frequent in Nigeria, given a whole lot of factors. You know, we have there are some places in Nigeria who have very strong terrain. There are some places who have very soft places like Lagos, you know, and these things calls for different approaches to construction. So I think if we're able to look at these things, which we have done severally, if we're able to begin to implement it and follow up in the implementation, then we'll be able to curb it finally.
Okay, yeah. So let's go straight to what we should be curbing. I mean, I hear sometimes you go to where you want to even look at the land, the land you want to buy, and the person who is selling the land to you is not just an engineer. He's an architect as well. He's a quantity surveyor. He tells you he's a one-stop shop for the whole value chain in construction. So and a lot of people actually, what would you say? Is because some Nigerians don't even know that one person cannot do everything. You see them employing these people and entrusting them with their construction work. So how can Nigerians listening to you right now know the proper steps to take in, let's say, a building construction, for instance?
Okay, Nigeria is a very fantastic nation.
Okay.
We do backward approach to a lot of things, so it makes us pretty unique. Yes. So it's a known fact that acquiring a property in Nigeria, due to a whole lot of things and the kind of the way we are arranged, like I said, we're unique. There are some places, for example, in Abuja, you want to acquire a property, you notice that there's a remote settlement. There's a particular people, maybe nomads, settling there, and it has become their land. Then Abuja in itself has the Baggy or the Wari people who is their land. So if you want to, you now go through them, and then after you have the government also. So there's no the approach to acquiring stuff here is that, and then you have the agents who are the middlemen. They are mostly the ones that most times they will be talking to you about the land. Maybe they are the eighth agent on the land.
Exactly.
Yes, this one introduced me, this one introduced me, just like that. And then you now notice that among them, one knows one person who is an engineer, and then that one is also, because
that's if you're lucky. A lot of them agents claim to be engineers.
Yeah. What we mean by an engineer in the Nigerian context is actually somebody you see around where they are building house, and he's the one giving command.
Yeah,
that's the engineer in the Nigerian context. So in that manner, you notice that there's a way, especially in Abuja or in other states, we have the AGs in Abuja Geographic Information System. Before you acquire a land, every land in Abuja, I guess, has a document backing it, either with area council or this or RF, or then you must be able to, from the area council, trace it up to AGs. If you're able to confirm that the land you're buying, there are so many steps to go through these things. There's the FCDA, Federal Capital Development Authority.
Okay.
These are the authority. This is the authority saddled with this responsibility of developing Abuja. So you cannot sideline them in trying to get, except it's a private property. You still have to go through the AGs to confirm that this land is documented and registered with the name of the person trying to sell it to you. Because most times you see 5 people buying the same property, and at the end of the day, they are exchanging blows. So
exactly.
That's how it happens in Abuja. I think in more remote areas, in the places that have villages, let me give an example with the eastern part. When you come to purchase a property, a lot of people around knows actually
who really owns it. Yes,
because is a rural area,
and they are communal.
Yes, they are communal. So this person can say this land belongs to so family,
exactly.
And this person has bought it and sold to this person, and it's easier than in cities like this where you don't even know who owns anything. So I think if we follow the due process of going through the area councils to the FCDA to the AGs, we should be able to acquire good properties. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Well, we have tackled that. However, what are you doing about, let me just start with the Kano State instance where there's a building collapse. A lot of people are trapped in the rubble. We now have to spend so much resources trying to evacuate people and all of that, and the contractor is arrested. Now tell me the role of the contractor. Why are we targeting the contractor? It should be like an entire chain of people who must have not done something right.
Well, when you come to building collapse, somebody has to be held accountable. The contractor is the one solely in charge of the building coming off the ground. Do you understand? That's why he's the main person. But you see, most times it doesn't work like this. Sometimes you notice that you have some clients who are this stiff-necked about, doing a particular project, and then you have some contractors who wouldn't follow the procedures of construction. A lot of factors come to play before a building goes down. A lot of factors ranging from quality control. There are so many people, including the government, has a part to play. When a building is ongoing, there are things that has to happen even before the takeoff of that building. But of course, in Nigeria, we
sometimes we want to cut corners.
Yes, exactly. We cut corners, and then we look for the cheapest person that can do it, and then we don't put eyes to make sure that it's built according to design. And then you see some people who wouldn't even take to quality control, so long as some people come and things are just, the building is coming out. There's one funny thing that happens in building. A client's expense, let's say, for example, 50 million naira in the foundation of a building. When you start foundation, you start with setting out, excavation, you start preparing your reinforcement and everything. And they'll be like, I spent 50 million, I'm not even seeing anything.
Exactly.
Yes, and that most times puts either the contractor under pressure. You know, so but there are a lot of factors. When you look at the thing that happened in Kano, it's quite painful, because when a building collapses, you don't lose one life. You don't just lose only life. You lose a lot. A lot. You understand? So I think that more should be done to make sure that from the conceptualization of the building down to the execution, there are so many things that has to be followed duly before even getting to execution. Because if there are gaps from conceptualization to design to approval to moving to site and to execution, the supervisory roles in between, if carefully done, you know, and I think those things can be curbed.
Okay, so what do you think the government can effectively do to tackle, you know, these issues of quackery and ensuring that the right thing is done without gaps?
Okay, we have professional bodies. We have the current Council of Registration of Engineers in Nigeria. We have the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We have the Nigerian Institute. Every engineering arm has a body, generally under the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and then the umbrella that covers them, links them with the government, is the current. You see, and I also know I've served in quite a number of committees in both NSC and a few in Korean, and then Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers. So quite frankly, committees has been constituted. I know for some years there were people going to sites about this collapse, supervising things, making sure that all this is, but you know the Nigerian thing, you after doing it, you write your report, you submit, is not getting a verdict in court. That is the issue. Is enforcing it. Is enforcing compliance. You know, there are many steps to take to enforce compliance. One of them is strict supervision. Strict supervision. So the government has gotten Koren, and Koren has gotten a committee. I think it's actually in between the reports that the committee gather, or even the reports the wider society gather, both the architects, the town planners. It's only in Nigeria that you want to start maybe something like an estate, and you don't begin from the town planners. Exactly. You don't start from the surveyors, land surveyors, town planners, land surveyors. You just move straight. You look for an architect that can do architectural drawing and all whatnot. So many things are not done the way it should go. Who
is supposed to ensure compliance?
Well,
is it the professional bodies? Is it the federal government? Is it this constituted bodies?
Right? Okay, there's something I actually found out that the Institute of Architects in Nigeria did recently. It's quite commendable. You know, every drawing now has what they call APRN. I think it's the number of a particular building in a particular location with the name of the architect that designed it and his registration number, his documents. So if that building has an issue and it's an architectural issue, it's very easy to know,
to point it and say exactly this person did it.
And this also means that if implemented fully, it means that the architect that designs a particular building should be part of the construction process of that building. It should be the same for the engineer, both the civil, the structural, the mechanical, the electrical, every person that is concerned in the building structure. You know, so when we follow these processes, it's easy to know who to hold accountable, because most contractors you're seeing are not engineers.
Should there be?
Even if you are not, the person in charge of your project should be a professional. You don't go to do a major surgery, you go to the chemist shop. You don't do that. It's only in engineering you see that somebody wants to do 1, 2, 3, 4 5 suspended floors, and he's looking at, do you know anybody that I don't want anybody, I'll start paying
too much money.
Yes.
But why not pay enough money to pay the person who is a professional? Well,
that's the Nigerian thing, because I don't think that, with every sense of respect, that a normal human being will have a project of 100, 200, 300 million, and then you can't pay 7.5% or 10% of that amount to a professional to see to it that that thing
I just could not help myself. I had to giggle there when you said you cannot think of how a normal human being,
yes.
And a lot of them do this every day,
yes.
Where they don't mind putting so much into the building, but paying professionals is a problem. Like, bring my brother already, bring I know somebody who worships with me, bring him on,
yes.
and all that, and the due process is not often done.
Yes.
So while we keep talking about government, is still the ball still ends in their court in ensuring the implementation of this across board. I know I've communicated with the FCTA. I know that they are doing their best. They often do these checks once in a while, and I hear one time I interviewed one who talked about the fact that they don't even wait to get approvals. They wake up in the morning and you're strolling by and the building has gone so far. So you now have to come back, and it seems like you're mean when you now demolish this building, because we've also seen some issues where the government is like, this is going completely against everything and all that. So across board, FCT is, trying. I don't know, you would now have to tell us. Across board, do you think state governments are doing enough in ensuring compliance with the laid down procedures?
Well, I think lately I've done a project in Anambra State. I think that they have upped their game in Anambra State. Right now, if you want to build as an engineer in Anambra State, you must submit your registration documents and everything, and you must write an undertaking that you are the one taking this project. Yes. Also, do I remember other states now? No, I think the last project I handled in Anambra, it had to happen like that. So, but aside from this thing, in Abuja, they have people coming from development control to supervise what is happening on site too. So it's not just about the supervision thing. There are other factors that comes to brings us to this building collapse thing. Like I've been mentioning, quality control. When you're talking about quality control, there's also an arm of government that is saddled with that responsibility. I think it's SON, Standards Organization of Nigeria. Yes. Sometimes when you look at the reinforcements, the rods in a layman's language, you will notice that since the economy is biting hard, you don't get exactly what you expect. You understand? So there are ways to also tackle these things. It means that the person that's undertaking the design of a particular structure has to factor into the design what we call the factor of safety. You have to have that, knowing that, okay, since we don't get this diameter of reinforcements in the markets, what are we going to do? You raise the bar in your design, knowing that has, for example, if there's a place you can do, let's say 4x16 in a column, you understand, you could actually decide, okay, because you can't get the exact 16 in the market now, we can do 4x20, knowing that even the 20 in the market, when you use your vernier calipers, you're getting like 17.18 points. So when you begin to look at these things, even from design, that's why I told you that from reconnaissance survey, going to site to see where the site is, with your eyes you can tell the topography, because every building is flat on paper. Right. Yes, so when you look at the topography on ground, you're able to say, okay, this will work here, this will not work here. I have a project now that is in an undulating area. Some of the starter columns, some of them are almost going to 4 meters. Some of the other ones are 2.4. So these things has to come into play, and then knowing the quality of those reinforcements, you start from your design, and you do it in such a way that even if it's an artisan building on site, no matter, they like to cut corners now. You have priced them, okay, this work is 25,000. They want to do it very fast, and leave and go to another place and make money. So you design in such a way that with your factor of safety, that no matter how they fall short in cutting corners, they will still fall into the what do I call it? They fall into the range of what you want to get. Okay, so that's how it is. The quality control thing, there's a mixed ratio. If you look at some building drawings, if you're opening it, if you open the first page of a structural drawing, you will see the structural engineer's notes. These drawings are designed not to scale, or scale of 1:100. Every member of this, and the columns, the beams, the slab must be done with a concrete of 124. Majority of the people you see on site as contract, they don't even understand that language. Talk more of implementing it. And then you notice that some of them are so wise now. They come to the end, they say, we will not be held liable. If
so they now get aloof, right?
That is supervising
this project, right?
Do you understand? So that is what is happening now. I think on this issue, the government and Standards Organization of Nigeria should do more to see that the reinforcements should be able to give us, like Y20 should be Y20, 16 should be 16, 12.
So if you didn't have this tool, you call it vernier caliber, right? Yes. If you didn't have it, you would be using, with your best intentions, you could actually think you're using a 17 mm and it's less. Yes,
that's how it is. So, and funny enough, when you go to the market to purchase materials, and some of the sellers in the market notice that you have it, so now you go to the market, you have different categories of reinforcements. You have Abuja TMT, you have Tiger, you have these ones for the same companies producing the same thing. And funny enough, if you put the vernier calipers, the whole different companies are giving you different values and short of the original 20 mm. Or 16.
So how badly would you say that economic challenges have affected product, and how would you advise that engineers and those in the construction industry, you know, without going below standard, sail through?
You see, it's quite unfortunate what's happening to construction generally and economically in Nigeria. I mean, one factor could just change the whole market setting or market cost, you know, and a lot of people are running into problems because you will bid for a job for this particular amount, and then you wake up the next morning, you see that amount cannot execute that project. So it's very, very terrible. Some contractors have abandoned so many projects. If you go around Abuja, you notice
a lot of projects.
Right? Yes, it could be that it got to a point where they cannot afford, that what they charged for the project cannot afford, you know, to execute the project again, and then they abandon it and run. So when you come to these issues of economy, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's the economists that will be able, but I think it's not about fixing price. I think there's a body, FCC,
FCC,
pricing, whatever. You know, you can't force people to sell below what their value of either production or buying. And when people buy, they buy. A ton of iron is close to ₦1 million now.
Wow.
It used to be almost 1/4 of it before. So you don't expect them. For those people that are doing cutting edges in those iron to be able to sell, that's how they are able to balance. So
but instead of getting it substandard, I would rather let it triple in price. Let me know that I am in the market getting the right quality.
That's why I'm telling you that there are varieties in the market. There's a particular product that if you put your vernier calipers,
it is what it is, right?
Yes. So but then who can have, if the difference between 1 ton of this one and 1 ton of that original one is almost 300,000 or 200,000, and you're going to, let's say you're doing a single suspended floor, a duplex, and you're going to need like 5 to 8 tons of iron altogether. You now multiply it. Some people are not willing to go that hard on themselves. You understand? So that's the story for another day.
I can only imagine. Yeah. I mean, what would you say that moving forward, the professional bodies can do in ensuring more advocacy or awareness or sensitization? Because I don't know if it's a case of Nigerians not knowing, and that's why we have these quacks. Do you think these professional bodies are doing enough? And then while answering that, because we're running out of time, I would like you to address the fact that what's the punitive measure? Should an engineer, for instance, renegade on standard?
Okay, first off, I want to talk a bit about quackery. You see, this is one thing that whenever I hear quackery, especially in engineering and construction, it makes me so sad. Because there are lots of bright, intelligent, young engineers out there. And you will even notice that these quacks, they are dominating the construction industry. And then the professionals are not having jobs to do. Why? Because the Nigerian thing happens. A big man gets a project and he wants his brother on site, you know, and then they want to do it in such a way that they subject the professional. Some will tell you, hey, just come, when you finish foundation, you go. Some will tell you, when you know, they don't really, and then they begin to do substandard things, because when somebody on site does not understand what concrete 124 means, and how to apply it on site, how many bags of cement, how many bags of sand, how many bags of coarse aggregate and all those things, you don't know. You just leave everything in the people they call man worker. Yes, exactly. And then organizers. Organizer is the one that goes to get you the artisans, the laborers. Exactly. And then he brings a machine and has an operator. So ultimately it is the operator that determines the mix rate. That determines, and sometimes they determine according to the size of their buckets. Yes, exactly. My bucket cannot carry one full bag of cement, so let's do 2 bags, 3 mixing. Let's do, you know, you begin to cut corners. So these quacks have infiltrated the market so much. So I'm telling you, it's not only just in construction, you know, and most times it seems like the word. And let me also tell you, a lot of engineers don't know their onions too. That's the only reason.
They allow themselves the pressure.
Yes, then you come on into sites, you see, because an engineer has not been privileged to have so many site experience, you see a quack that has been in so many sites, and he comes and he begins to show his mastery in doing setting out, and then the engineer just stands and is now giving him, okay, do it like this, do it like this. When they notice that you're not practical, or that, that you don't know what you're doing, they take advantage of you. So some engineers too are culpable. They are not. They are the reason why these quacks can infiltrate sites. You know, because if you know what you're doing, sometimes they have to see you do it.
Exactly.
And then they also know by the decisions you make concerning some particular issues on site will make them know, this person knows, and they'll respect you for that. And
so stand up for it at all times.
Yes, if you
at least if not for anything,
if you know you went to school for it and you know it, show that you know it on site.
Right.
When you show that you know it, the people, the artisans on site, they will respect you, and then they will come to you, sir, this thing I thought is like, it becomes a suggestion.
Right.
You understand?
And not that imposition that you often see.
Yes,
thank you so much, Engineer Emeka-Obi. Thank you for being part of the program.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, so we've been discussing building collapse with Engineer Emeka-Obi, who is a senior project engineer at Duknex Building and Construction Limited here in Abuja. He's one of the most sought after engineers in the city. Thank you for being part of the program. But this is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Joyous Live. We'll be back tomorrow with yet another interesting edition. So do have a wonderful, restful evening.